In the infinite, dark sea of space, beyond the last whisper of sunlight, a lone traveler silently drifts. It isn't a spaceship crewed by astronauts, nor an investigator using a ticket for the return trip. This is Voyager 2, a seasoned but steadfast messenger created by humans nearly 5 decades ago. The majority of people believe that, after crossing the solar system's boundary, it just went silent, an observer whispering back signals from the edge of the void. Now, however, something has evolved. Voyager to witnessed something that was never supposed to move, a thing that was not meant to be there. For years, its journey through the interstellar medium had gone without incident, merely particles, cosmic stillness, and magnetic fields. Until emotion broke the silence, it was discovered to be deliberate and unmistakable, drifting through the night, something moving with intention. And when scientists on Earth deciphered the oddities, a chilling realization began to settle over them. What we feared deep down might actually be real. Long after Voyager had left the planets past Pluto, past Neptune, and past the heliopause, the unnoticeable point in our interstellar space free of the sun's influence, space begins somewhere else. It was expected to slowly drift while picking up fluctuations in space dust and solar radiation. But instead, it picked up movement, a movement of the kind that does not occur by accident. Initially, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory of NASA observed what they thought was a blip in the plasma wave data, a long-lasting spike of only a few seconds. These instruments are extremely precise and frequently report on changes in the density of particles or interactions with magnetic fields. But the signal this time carried an odd signature. It pulsed in a rhythm. It wasn't just data, it seemed like a pattern, not random or natural. Engineers thought perhaps it was interference, or perhaps a problem caused by cosmic rays or even the breakdown of the system. Moreover, Voyager 2 is nearly 50 years old. However, when the same signal came back with increased strength, they knew something was wrong or perhaps very right. Since there was no noise in the data, it was a transmission. Voyager 2 observed something which it had documented. After the data had been cleaned and analyzed, it sent a shockwave through the scientific community as a whole. There was an object approximately 500,000 kilometers away from the probe at a velocity inconsistent with any known natural origin in that area. No asteroid belts, no unintended planets, no comets. Nevertheless, whatever this thing was, it was more than just drifting, it was tracking. The movement was in the same direction as Voyager 2 was traveling. The speed of the object changed slightly in a way that mirrored the trajectory of Voyager. Picture a predator stalking silently in the wake of its prey, adjusting its movements just enough to remain within range, but not sufficient to cast doubt on someone. NASA scientists were not the only ones in panic. Independent astronomers and military personnel, especially those involved in deep space tracking, were drawn in. They verified it. It was not a malfunction. Plasma density readings, magnetometer anomalies, and even minute changes in the probe's gyroscopic data all pointed to the same conclusion. Voyager had company, and that company might not be friendly. One of the most terrifying facts came not from what Voyager witnessed, but from what it returned. The radio frequency burst that followed the regular telemetry feed contained a digital signal with no connection to Voyager's systems. It wasn't programmed to send this, yet it did. When decrypted, the packet of data contained a series of binary strings that, when plotted, formed visual patterns similar to glyphs, but not natural cosmic waves or background noise. The construction was deliberate. Some liken them to crop circle geometry or other visible symbols in early human history: spirals, intersections, recursive loops. A swarm of AI linguists and astrophysicists ran the data through contextual analysis algorithms. The outcomes were appalling. The structure of the signal matched what we would expect from an intentional transmission, not from Voyager, but from some other thing, an item that had either taken over or was embedded in the flow of signals. Whether it was a warning or a message, no one could say for sure. But the implications were clear. Deep space wasn't just for Voyager 2, and what it encountered might have rediscovered us. There is a divide in the scientific community. Some contend that this is the evidence we have been anticipating, evidence that we are not alone. Others are less hopeful, worried that this is a signal of surveillance or, worse, a prelude. The idea of extraterrestrials has been debated for decades. Exoplanet life was mostly theoretical, based on discoveries and sporadic signals from far-off stars. However, this was close, and it didn't do nothing. What makes this discovery even more chilling is the timing. Similar occurrences were noted in just months' worth of Voyager 1 data before, but they were deemed to be static interference. Now, those readings are being reviewed in a new light. Many believe we've been too blind, too arrogant to consider the most terrifying explanation, that someone or something has observed us for longer than we have been willing to admit, and they have made contact. The instruments of Voyager 2 continued capturing data. The Deep Space Network team received a stream of electromagnetic frequencies and readings oscillating in patterns they had never encountered previously. Analysts at first thought it might be cosmic interference rays. The signal was isolated by the team and enhanced. Its waveforms, what emerged, shocked them, a planned sequence, mathematically precise pulsing, almost as though it were made up. A more thorough analysis was carried out by scientists. What the base harmonic they saw was mirrored, inverted frequencies of hydrogen, intentional modification of the universe's most prevalent element. What is that? Possibly mean? The signal went beyond noise. It was attempting to talk. The team used the signal's path as a cross-reference with the course of Voyager 2, only to discover that this trend had altered. It wasn't random. It was monitoring the probe. An intern at NASA dug through the archives and stumbled upon decades-old telemetry from Voyager 1. When the data are compared, an unsettling alignment appeared. In the exact same region of interstellar space, Voyager 1 had gone through a series of brief data anomalies nearly identical to the most recent data from Voyager 2. But back then, the disruption had been dismissed as static. Now, in hindsight, it looked like a first meeting. Scientists revisited the Voyager 1 logs and applied modern AI tools for decoding to the signal turbulence. The outcome matched the current event in the waveform almost perfectly. This wasn't coincidence. Someone or something was waiting in the void, and it had encountered both Voyager probes. The implication: this was not the first time we had been noticed. The team mapped the anomaly's motion using precise modeling. It didn't make sense arcs of gravitation, like a comet or asteroid. Instead, it veered off course unnaturally, as if space was being warped itself to remain hidden. Every simulation could not reproduce its path using known physics. Even worse, the object appeared to speed up and slow down at will, remaining on the edge of visibility, just beyond the reach of conventional optical instruments. NASA scientists described its behavior as reactive, which means that it moved only in response to the messages sent by Voyager. Was it listening, learning, or was it trying to completely avoid being seen? Some began to ask, what if Voyager didn't just find this thing? It sparked it. While the object was still visible, elusive, the probe's magnetometer started to register rapid magnetic flux changes, abrupt shifts that suggested the deliberate alteration of electromagnetic fields. Within the world, conspiracy theories ignited, claiming Voyager had made contact with an interstellar intelligence. But it wasn't just theories. An earlier JPL engineer leaked an internal report suggesting that the anomaly's field disruptions were in the shape of torus, similar energy distortions to those resulting from hypothetical Alcubierre drives or warp fields. Had Voyager stumbled on something that is far beyond our understanding, the capacity to fold the fabric of space itself? The patterns of energy were not changing. They were intensifying. And every beat, every wave seemed to resonate with one terrifying truth: we are not alone, and we never were. Something even greater occurred back on Earth. The chills started to rise. Radio telescopes in Australia, Chile, and South Africa started detecting subtle but reiterating echoes the same Voyager to had a frequency that was distorted, recorded. The echoes were muffled, buried beneath the hum of background cosmic radiation, but one of them was shared a characteristic that is alarming. They moved inside flawless coherence with the transmission delays of Voyager 2's deep space signals. It appeared as if something escaped. There was mirroring the probe's activity. Analysts called this the ghostly pulse. Attempts to connect the dots the source were inconclusive, but one thing became incontrovertible. It was not a confined anomaly. Whatever was released, it had discovered a means of projecting its presence across vast regions of space simultaneously. In addition to being intelligent, the pattern was strategic, as if designed to be spotted, but only after humanity had ready. The discussion within specialized scientific groups shifted from "what is it?" to a more disturbing question: why now? It was Voyager 2 that ebb and flow for nearly 5 decades in silence, its journey expected to fade into the background cosmic. But now, exactly as artificial intelligence and quantum decoding reached maturity on Earth, the anomaly decided to respond. Was this an invitation or a coincidence? Some believed that the object
was not just reacting to Voyager's presence, but to the advancement of technology on Earth, that it had been silently waiting, observing, and at this time, when humanity had the means to decipher its message, it finally made its move. Media mandates from governments, blackouts, private observational facilities quietly go dark. Even some AI researchers were relocated, apparently their initiatives without justification. The question reverberated behind closed doors louder than ever: was Voyager the catalyst, first encounter, or was it awakening something we were never meant to find? Voyager 2 was more than just an emissary from Earth. It was the trigger of a revelation that shattered our perception of cosmic isolation. The mysterious structure that moves, the mirrored transmissions, the encoded frequencies, all of it is outside the tidy boxes of human science. Something or someone is out there, not billions of light years away, but lurking in the shadows of our own solar system, watching, waiting, and perhaps the most frightening aspect, they have decided to respond, not at the time of Voyager's launch, when it came close to Neptune, but now, as our species eventually made it to the technological limit required to understand. The issue is not whether we are no longer alone. The real issue is, what have we just woken up? Stay alert, because this story is far from over. The following signal could arrive at any moment. Furthermore, the following discovery may not just change what we know about the universe, it might change who we are.